That's another thing too, like white privilege. All right, whatever. But we've had the discussion with especially this extremism discussion to say if you are somebody who's not white and to say you have white privilege to a white person, that's intellectually dishonest because you don't know the quote privileges that white people actually have.
Correct.
For example, I brought up, I'm like, hey, I'm from Montana. I didn't see I didn't see in person my first black person until I was like 7. The only people I saw of color were Native Americans. I didn't really get to deal with racial issues until I was in college because we brought in other people from out of state to play football, basketball, track, stuff like that. And that's when I started really getting involved with race and getting not necessarily involved, but like interacting with it and seeing how it actually operates from a day-to-day basis. My point is, how can you say, all right, you can argue maybe I have white privilege over Native Americans. Okay, I'll give you that one. But how can you say I have white privilege over 90% of my state when 90% of us are white? Like I'm fighting and I'm working just as hard as everybody else in my state for the exact same resources, jobs, stuff like that. So how do I have white privilege over them if they are all white as well?
Okay. Extend those, you say 90% white here in the state, and I don't know exactly what it is, but I do know the nation.
Yeah, and I just throw that out there, but let me look.
Yeah, but the population in the US is what other than white?
Oh, I was freaking close. 88.9%.
White. And
Yep.
most of those are natives. Most of the non-white,
Oh,
I would,
yeah, yeah.
because we got a very large Indian
Yep.
reservation. We got what, seven reservations.
Yeah, so this is the 2019 census. Uh we're just a hair over a million people. Um
I
Here we
can
go.
remember when there were seven of us.
Yeah. White white alone 88.9%.
Okay.
American Indian 6.7%. Black 1/2%. Asian, oh, we've got actually more Asians than I thought. 0.9%.
Quite a few, yeah.
Oh, it says Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander. That's interesting.
Point.
0.1%.
I was gonna say 0.2. Yeah,
Mixed
but
race. So it says two or more races, 2.8. Hispanic, 4.1. And then again, white alone, comma, not Hispanic or Latino. It's still 85.9%.
okay. Now I'll look up your national statistics.
Why is this? Because I want to stay on this website. Because this is my common denominator now. I don't want to change it.
Oh no, yeah. You got to do that. Not that the census is accurate either. I worked with a guy, great big guy. Jesus, he was huge. He was cool. I got along great with him. His name is Phil Shoulders. We worked when I was going to college in a warehouse. He was a warehouse foreman. 6'8", like
Jesus.
260. Yeah, oh yeah, like 265 pounds, 260 pounds, something like that. That dude was enormous. And you get, I mean, totally, completely different cultural differences. I mean, he's a black guy from the ghettos of DC.
Oh yeah, that's a totally different animal in itself.
Oh yeah, and I'm like, and I'm curious. I don't know. And so I'm asking him questions. I'm all of about, God, I think I was like maybe 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, Phil, I mean, dude, where are you from? And he told me, and I said, wow. I said, is your family still there? And he goes, I don't know, some of them, I guess. And he was like, had like 13 or 15 brothers and sisters. Some of them he'd never met. His mother had moved to the Carolinas, but his perspective on stuff is really interesting. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's a totally different world there. I don't know, anything about it.
Yeah.
And so the perspective he had was, dude, I just do my thing. Well, yeah, me too. So ultimately, when it comes down to it, we all want the same stuff
Yeah.
for our families if you're not a criminal.
Right.
Now I know more white criminals than I know
Right.
other than,
Exactly.
all of those different races combined. I don't. It's because of where I live, what I do. I don't I don't get any use for them.
So
You know.
here's the statistics though, and I'll oh,
Okay.
oh okay, whatever. So here I'll go back and forth. So US, we're at a white alone 76.3. Montana
Ooh,
was 88.9. African American or black is 13.4.
13%. Yeah.
Montana was zero point 0.6. Native American, it says American Indian or Alaskan Native alone 1.3 in the United States. It is 6.7 in Montana. Asia alone in the United States is 5.9, and I think we were at 0.9 in Montana. U.S. is for Pacific Islander or Native Hawaiian 0.2. Montana's 0.1. Two or more races 2.8 for the United States and 2.8 for Montana. Hispanic or Latino in the United States is 18.5 and 4.1 for Montana.
See, there's the big difference right there nationally is the Latino.
Yeah, it's the Latino one. And then
Yeah.
the white alone, not Hispanic for the United States is 60.1%, and it's 85.9 in Montana.
Okay, so you got 60% versus 76%. You got 16% there that are mixed race.
No. So for mixed race, where was it? Two or more races, 2.8%, and 2.8% in Montana.
Okay, but where did you have that? What was the 60%?
So 60% for the United States is white, not Hispanic or Latino. So
Okay, but
this is
then it
so
had
weird. I hate how they do this because white alone is 76%,
there
and
you
then
go.
white alone without Hispanic or Latino is 60. So there's
That's what I'm
60.
saying. You got 16% of unaccounted. What happened there?
Yeah, no,
Why?
I agree. I don't understand why they do that. The other thing is too, I mean, you look at us, Montana, 88.9 versus 85.9. So there's a 3% difference on that.
Yeah.
I
Again,
hate how
like
they do that because how do you is it just based off of I'm a Spaniard, so I'm white in complexion, and that's how they decide it? I don't.
I worked with a guy who was his brothers and sisters were very dark skinned
Yeah,
Mexican, and guys called him the Mexican or the Spaniard because he was Spanish. He was as white as you and me,
right.
but culturally, his brothers and sisters, his mom. I mean, he just happened to have lighter skin, and
I
so
work with a guy the same way. He's from Puerto
yeah,
Rico, and he's as white as I am, and he's definitely got an accent. He speaks fluent Spanish, and he's
yeah.
from Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah, there's a guy from that I also worked with from Puerto Rico. He's an engineer and great guy. Oh, he was hilarious. I love that guy. He's like 6'3" and I mean, he's just bouncing all over the place and had the filthiest mouth. Everything was, oh, bud, hey, F bud. I mean, he was but the guy was brilliant guy, great guy, and if you wouldn't probably tell that Raul was outside of his name, Raul Perez, great. If
Yeah,
you're out, I think Raul's in Florida now. Great guy, love him. Uh, you wouldn't know it unless you heard him speak.
right.
And so what? I don't care. Hell,
Right.
I'm darker than your mother is
Yeah.
by a lot. She's so I don't skin color culture. I think it's kind of neat to learn other people's cultures and what
Hmm.
what makes them who they are. I mean, that's just a freaking cool thing. I mean, I could have probably easily been an anthropologist. That stuff just I dig it.
Yeah.
However, I want to be left alone, and I'm sure they want to be left alone. Let me have my heritage. That's an important thing. I think it is for me, and I think
Yeah.
it is for most people. So
Yeah.
I don't care what the numbers are, but don't tell me that I can't do certain things because it's not part of your culture. It's part of mine.